Well, we are live Tuesday at 7, and Craig is already sitting down, and I'm going to come around. I'm just doing a quick peek, make sure that we're live and that it looks like people start to join in. Well, nice. Craig, thank you for joining us again, because you've joined us. We never really counted, but it's been many, 50, 60, 70, 80, maybe 90.
Yeah, at least, yes.
Over the 3.5 years, you've been behind the camera most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly behind the camera. Now you know the voice to it, the cameraman.
And if you've watched Tuesday 7 for 4 years, you may remember that we interviewed Craig, I don't know, 3 years?
3 years, maybe.
About 3 years ago?
Roughly, yeah.
And at that time, you talked about some of your creative processes, and you talked about your writing, and we're going to dig into that here tonight. And we appreciate you guys joining us. If you joined us last week, and Craig was on the other side of the camera, we had the opportunity to talk and to visit the studio of Lee Brooklyn. She's a great artist. Does a lot of great pen and ink. I think she was doing some painting. She got to sculpting. She was even painting grenades. And
those were interesting. Those grenades,
You know, kind of the love bomb.
Yeah.
Right? We encourage you guys to look back at that. And if you shared that video last week, your name is in the hat, right? And somebody's going to get it. It's actually an original drawing by Lee Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And if your name is drawn, then you're going to get that artwork. And we appreciate your shares. As a matter of fact, what kind of the magic behind the Tuesday at 7 is, first of all, we gather together, we create community. We have a Facebook group. Feel free to join it. But our intention is just to put some eyes on people's stories, and we wanted to put as many eyes on Lee Brooklyn's artwork, her journey, and part of that is your shares. And we appreciate your shares.
So multi-talented she is. I mean, amazing. Definitely watch that last week's episode for sure.
There's some big things coming, bigger things. Yeah, I mean, there's already been some big things, but she's going places.
For sure.
You want to choose a winner for that Lee Brooklyn? And the winner, original artwork.
Let's see here.
Hopefully, you can remember right.
Magically Morbid.
Oh, so Maria, congratulations, and thank you for sharing. Magically Morbid. Thank you for joining. I'm going to come around here one more time.
Another very talented person.
Yeah.
That was a good interview as well as a part of.
That was a great one. I'm going to put this in my pocket so I remember to contact Maria. Great interview as well. 2.5, 3 years ago, we sat down and we talked about many of your interests. And on that list of several things was writing. I don't want to go there yet, because most of you know Craig from effects and acting and character development. What most people don't know is that he's a writer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Lyrical, poetry, some prose. Would that be an accurate description?
For sure, yes. Yeah, I started out mostly lyrics. And then, I I was inspired by Bruce Springsteen when I was younger, as a teenager, when I was in school. And I wanted to be a rock star. And so I started writing songs, and most of them started out as lyrics. And then I realized I wasn't musically talented, so I turned them into poems. Yeah. Which song lyrics are poetry anyways. So listen.
What I want to do is we love when we can to be moving. So I'm gonna ask Craig if he doesn't mind, if he shows us a little bit of his interests outside of the ones that you guys know, the effects and the characters and the hunting. But before, are you all right if I'm so forward to taking our community into your backyard?
Sure.
Maybe do a quick look at garden. We'll talk about some of the things that you do, how writing kind of helps you process thoughts, I'm imagining, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I love nature, and I love being out in my yard. I love doing yard work, and every day I'm out here doing something in the yard.
Yeah.
And I find peace and I get inspired.
Yeah. There's two things that I want to bring up, and that is Craig is going to give a copy of his first book, and the way that you can win a copy, and we'll ask him to sign that, to autograph that to you here before the interview is over. But in order to be put in the drawing to win an autographed copy of his book, all you need to do is share. In the very bottom left-hand side of your screen, there's a share button. Sometimes it's just an arrow. When you hit that share button, Facebook will prompt you to kind of the next steps. You can share it to an individual. You could share it to your friends list. You can share it to a group. And when you do, we know it. And then next week, right before the show, we write down all those names on little strips of paper, and we're going to choose a winner. And again, the strength behind, I think, the community is to be able to shine some light on our folks, and we want to shine some light on Craig and his writing. But before we head to the back, there's a couple sheets of paper here. What are we looking here?
Well, this was a journey. The book contains poetry and lyrics from when I was in high school, like I was saying. And I finally just had the opportunity to put them together in a book. And I just was showing I've been asked how I write poems. When do I do it? I have to do it when the words come to me. I'll be at work or I'll be just anywhere doing something and the words will just come to me. And I can't let them go. Otherwise I'll forget. And then I've done that plenty of times. Just forgot what I was one. I ruined it. So now I always have, this is my original since high school book that I write in, and I've taped it up but I've had that ever since I started writing.
Now there's a couple pieces of loose paper here.
Yeah.
What's this?
I was in school one time. This is maybe 89 or something. I just got inspired and I was writing a poem. I had to write a poem. I had to get it out. This is, went to the restroom, got a paper towel, and just started writing on paper towel.
And you saved it?
Yes. And it's actually, this poem is in that book.
Well,
so you'll see it. It's called The Ode to Ralph Winston, and it's about a police officer, and it's in this book that I wrote all those years ago.
And I think it's a really important piece of information is to have have something nearby, and if there's nothing nearby, if you have to, grab whatever's there.
Improvise.
Yeah, improvise.
Yeah, and I was at work, and I was inspired again, and I work in retail, so this came in on a pallet of stock, and I had it, and I wrote another poem. And this is also in the book. It's called The Best Part of You. So you'll be able to read the full versions of both of these lyrics, songs in there.
But do me a favor. Grab that book, and let's walk around the back. And first of all, congratulations on getting that book done.
Thank you. I'm always so self-critical of myself, and don't have the courage. I'm getting better in life, where I'm getting more courage and more confidence in myself. And this is just an accomplishment. You don't know how great this accomplishment is. I've dreamed of this since I was in high school, of having something tangible. And here it is finally.
And you're going to share kind of your experience, how you went from poems written, and before we go there, I'm going to just do a quick peek here. So many of you know.
Yeah. I'm all about Halloween.
Skullhead, about his Halloween and his collection.
Haunted houses, and collect. And I don't have any of my makeup work out here, though, but you've seen that all before, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But those who know me.
Yeah, but what most of us don't know is that this book has been in process for decades.
Decades, yes. Yeah. Like I say, since I was in high school. And ever since then, I started writing, and here it is finally. Something tangible. So I didn't want to just write a book with all new material. I was going to, and I'm thinking, no, I worked hard on those poems since I was a kid. They may be, and I've even titled them as adolescent poetry, so you get the gist.
Yeah. When
you're reading it. And I just wanted to include everything from when I was young till now. It's a whole journey of writing in this book.
Yeah. Well, take us in the back, and we're going to talk as we walk. You've got a wireless lapel mic, so we can hear you just fine. The why poetry and why writing? Like what does that do?
It just it gets my feelings and my thoughts out and onto paper, and it just makes them real. My dreams, my thoughts, my it's whatever comes to my heart, and it just makes it real when it's on paper.
Yeah.
And then I like to share it with other people, and sometimes it helps them, sometimes it just entertains. And ever since I was young, when I was even a kid, I had a little tape recorder, and I'd pretend like I was a man on the street, and I'd come up with these fake interviews. I still have cassette tapes from when I was a kid, and they were called Man on the Street interviews. And my mom would just let me have this recorder, and I taped fake interviews.
Yeah.
So I always had that type of, talent, I guess.
Do you find it? Are you a storyteller? So, like something outside of like, are you creating stories and lyrics, or are you revealing something about yourself through that writing, the poetry?
Oh yeah, a lot of I'm revealing stuff about myself in a way. And I did some experimental poems in here where they're short sonnets, like 14-line poems, and prose. But I like the storytelling poems myself. There's a little bit of everything in here, but I think I'm going to continue more with the storytelling poems. I think that's just where it is. I love telling stories.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I know that there's a bunch of people that are jumping on here. Tracy, Doc, Dwayne, and we see a whole bunch. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for joining.
In addition to kind of exploring, right? Because I've heard you talk about, getting to this point where you publish a book. You bought this thing on Amazon, right? Or is that how people can purchase?
It's called Kindle Direct.
Kindle Direct.
And oh yeah, the book is available on Amazon.
Okay.
Yes. But the process I went through is called Kindle Direct, and they have templates and stuff. And that's, my nephew got me involved in that. He published a book as well. Paul Laux, you can look him up too, alongside of me.
Yeah, listen, and as we walk, and so Kindle Direct.
Yeah, they're the ones. They're the ones that my nephew went through, and they have templates, and so there's some that are free, which I used and my nephew used, and there's some more advanced that you have to pay for. They have different options, but I like this one that I used.
So when you talk about like a template, like for instance, let me take one step back. Kindle. Like, and how would you access that? Is it like Kindle.com?
KindleDirect.com, yes.
KindleDirect.com.
Yes.
And when you go there, you have the option of using their templates
and like
typing your writing into their templates.
Yeah, you download their templates, and the pages are set up. They're already pre-edited and stuff like that, or indented.
Space,
spaced.
Stuff like that, yeah.
So you have options to choose, and different fonts. I use different fonts in each poem too. I think that gives it a little bit more, makes it more interesting.
Without us being able to really read anything, give us a little flip, just so we can see those different fonts. Oh yeah. What makes you choose a different font size, or?
The shorter poems I chose some of them use bigger fonts, and I don't know, it's just how I felt, how the poem spoke to me, so I just...
And in your writing, probably, as you're using those templates, you also have to decide what it looks like on the page.
Yeah, and you can see as you're typing what it'll look like. It gives you what the page would look like. It's framed out for you and everything. So I was
KindleDirect.com. You can go ahead and put your writing into their templates. Did you say that it's costly, or like what is that like?
It can be. There's prices for more advanced templates. I don't honestly know, because my nephew set me up with his.
Yep. Gotcha.
But
Steve sends, I love the concept of writing down a thought or sketching an idea. It's like planting that seed at the beginning of making something real.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Steve.
Let's walk back here a little bit, because in addition to writing, which many people, unless you know Craig really well, you don't know that he writes. But for those who also might not know it, you also garden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've gardened ever since I was a kid. A baby. My dad started this. I still live in my parents' home, and my dad was a gardener. He had a greenhouse.
So we lost your parents sometime
Yes.
back, right? And so you're carrying on this gardening,
carrying on the tradition. Yes, this is what my dad would do, and he's probably looking down on me, happy that I kept the garden going. And had a few rough years in the beginning when I was on my own, but I got it back in shape. And so I'm doing that ever since I was a kid. I'd be out here with them. Growing up, I remember back in the early days, we supplied Dairy Queen over by my house here with their vegetables and stuff. Back when you could do stuff like that. It was a smaller country town here. And so, ever since I was young, I was working in this garden.
Yeah, Heather says, hey, Heather, it's good. We're exploring Craig's journey, and we're learning some things about Craig that most people don't know. We know about his effects and about his character and his theater, but what we don't know is about his writing and his passion to carry on the heritage of gardening. But you're going to let us peek into your garden here?
Yeah.
What do we got?
I can't take credit for this time because I was on holiday for a week and the weather was rough this year here. So my brother did the most of this work. So my brother Brian, I give him credit for this time. And this is a lot of his work. But
this is not a small space. This is a large garden.
50 by 50 roughly. And I got the tomatoes over there, peppers, beans, cabbages, onions, corn is coming along, strawberries.
The strawberries here.
Just working in this garden, my neighbor has chickens on the other side of the fence, so it's just relaxing and medicinal too. Yeah. It's I have bad anxiety and depression and stuff. It's been at bay for a while. I finally have it under control. I had a rough couple of years, the past few years, and finally got it under control. But this helps a lot. Just being out in the garden. Sometimes I'll have a radio. Sometimes I just love the nature, sound of nature. They have beautiful woods back there. That's not mine, but wooded area, and it's just calming, and it really inspires me sometimes to write, either about nature, sometimes I will, or just memories of being with my dad and working in here. Yeah. The family.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because that's pretty transparent to share, why you do what you do, not just that you garden, but why you garden. And I would imagine that as things get heavy, whatever that means, whatever heavy means, as things get heavy, you're like, I gotta go back and work in the garden. Or maybe this is a time where I pick up a pen and I grab a piece of paper and I write. Yeah,
I always have it ready for that inspiration when the inspiration hits. So it's
back to the book, right? So, we met here, we did an interview years ago, and for those who are just joining now, you may not realize, but Craig is the voice behind the camera and has been behind the camera for many, 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 many interviews over the years. And we wanted to celebrate because he just self-published his book. And we want to, first of all, say congratulations, right? But
Thank
we
you.
want to explore what it was that you did to get you here. Now, you were saying before, KindleDirect.com.
Yeah.
There's templates that were available for you to go ahead and write into, or to drop your writings and your poetry and your lyrics and your prose into. And so once you filled, how many pages or how many writings do you have in there?
136 pages.
136.
And as far as I don't really know how many actual poems I have, but
136 pages.
Yeah.
Filled. That's quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you went in, you took the templates, 136 pages in. Then what?
And my nephew helped out with. I edited it. It's not perfect, like I was saying earlier. It's not perfect. It could have been edited better, but like I said, this was my first book. and it is what it is. It looks good. I like it. People have saying, they've liked it. So, but it's not perfect, but you have to start somewhere. It's a starting point for me, and this is a big achievement for me.
Yeah.
And but this is my nephew's photo. He's a photographer as well, so I credit him for the photo, and it wraps around. And
so in addition to the writing, you get to choose
your
photo cover art, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. So for I don't know if this is too short of a question, but how much does your book run, and where can people buy it?
It's there's prices that you can choose. I could have there's options I could have chosen for.
So you could have chose $100. You could have said, I'm charging $100 for my book.
15, 20. I went with $9.99 because that's the cheapest, and I just think that's fair price for people would be more inspired to buy it.
$9.99. They can go to Amazon, right?
Yes, Amazon.
And they would search
look up my
by
name,
your name,
Craig Laux,
The Endless Fire.
And so yes, $9.99. I think maybe like $2.75.
Couple bucks.
So I'm not making much on it. It's just I have something out there. Artists, I don't believe any artist really makes a lot of money on their artwork.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's just knowing that I have something out there and people can read it and hear my words, my thoughts, my feelings.
Yeah.
And I can get them out there in the world.
So what describe to me, because you've been talking about putting this all together, and you've been writing since you were in high school, maybe earlier than that. And decades later, you now have a finished
product. Yeah.
So you ordered that.
Yeah.
Is it did like do you know if is it print on demand? Did they print off 100 copies, 1,000 copies, and pull it off a shelf? Do you know how that works?
I'm pretty sure it's print on demand. Mine, anyways. And most of them are, I believe, because I know other writers who write through Amazon and stuff that I follow on Facebook. And it's mostly print on demand, yes.
Print on demand. What was it like? So you went out to Amazon, you ordered
my own book.
Your own book. Your own book arrives in an Amazon package, and you open it up. Describe that feeling.
It just was surreal. I mean, I can't believe that like I say, my confidence and everything, I've never had confidence in myself. I'm very humble. And to see something that actually is tangible and in my hands that I created, and it's like an achievement. I can't even put it into words. It's a great feeling to have achieved something. And it may be small to some people, but to me, it's a good feeling.
It's meaningful.
It's meaningful, yes.
Yeah. Don Busby says, "Hey Craig, hey Roger." So we still have a whole bunch of people watching and kind of rooting you on.
Awesome.
And Jim Cermak, he has a question. He said, "So, is there another book in you?"
Oh, there for sure is. Yeah. Now that I have this, dip my toes in the water in the pool, for sure. I'm going to start writing again.
I know Jim is an author too. Jim, if you would share like how your book went, did you use KindleDirect.com or did you use another one? Because I think what our hope is, what Craig's hope and my hope is that you just kind of see
other options.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear,
and that you're inspired because Craig's like, okay, I had a bunch of loose paper and now I got a book, and there's a lot of folks out there that I think have similar things, right? I've got an idea, I've got a book, I've got some fiction, I've got a novel. I've
been asking, trying to find people, how do I get this into a book and everything, and then finally my nephew, helped me out with it.
Yeah.
So there's other options, and I'd love to hear other options, just to see what's out there. Maybe this isn't the best option, Kindle Direct, I don't know. So,
but it worked for you.
It worked for me, for sure. I have something out here.
From the time that you started to type your writings into their templates, from that point, was that weeks? Was it months?
It was definitely months, maybe even a year, because I got it started not long after our last interview. And it was a rough go because I was pretty messed up at the time, emotionally and everything. And, I had a lot to get through. Yeah. And I think you could see it in that interview too, that I wasn't in the right place. But I started it, and I had to redo some of it because I was putting stuff in there. I'm thinking, nah, I don't like that. So some of the stuff I took out, and then I just started, different thoughts. Like I said, should I just put all new poetry in there? And I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I came up with the thoughts of going back to my adolescent years and everything from them until now. And you can see difference in opinions and difference in feelings and emotions and thoughts of the world. You can see the change as I go on.
Yeah.
And my next book will probably, from this age, my point of view of what the world is and what life is all about and love.
Yeah, and if we were to date stamp this, because I usually do that at the beginning, and we didn't do that, it is June 2024. And Jim Cermak said that he used Lulu, Lulu.com, Lulu.com.
I've heard of that.
Another self-publishing option. And he says that his experience with them has been great too. And Jim said, so proud of you, brother. Kelly Milliron has said, you are so inspiring. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you very much.
It's not easy to walk people through your inner thoughts and your writings and
especially like I say, when you're very reserved and personal like I am, and I keep to myself, and I'm getting more outgoing as I go along. So this is it's an achievement as well, just getting my thoughts out there and just my feelings.
And helped you process.
And talking,
process, those difficult times during all of our lives.
Yeah.
This is completely unfair, but I'm going to ask it only because we've been friends for many
years. Decades, yeah. 30 years, I would say, roughly.
Don Busby says, proud of you, Craig. You've come a long way, and from hunting together. And Don's another actor as well. But is it too, and you could say no, right? Is it too far to even ask you to read a piece out of your book to kind of finish this off?
No, I can do it.
Will you do that?
Yeah, I'll do it.
So let's actually do that back here. So if you guys are just joining right now, we learned a few things about Craig that we didn't know. First, that he's a writer. We also found that he that was kind of a bridge during some difficult times, helped him process things. Mm-hmm. He also brought us out to a garden that was originally started by his father, which he continues. Mm-hmm. He and his brother, and maybe other family members, continue to just keep things he's shared with us. This is kind of his calming place, a place of peace.
And my brother even comes here to relax and get calm.
Yeah.
Get away and just be by himself and working here. He gets a lot of rest and support from it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I love gardening.
Yeah. So it's very medicinal to him and myself.
Kelly Milliron said, I was hoping he'd read. So go ahead and give us one.
Get a little out of the sun here.
Yeah.
Okay, this is called Finding Felicity. It's from, I was tinkering around with a full story idea, and this is an excerpt from it. It's poetic, but it's an excerpt from it. Someday, there will be that one person that comes into your life, and you look into their eyes, and all the things you once thought were important, all the things that dragged you down, all your worries and troubles, they just melt away. And it's just you and them in that moment. You can feel it in your heart. You can feel it in your soul. You can feel it in your whole being. You look at them like a sunset over an ocean. You look at them and you just know they're the one you waited your whole life for. You once asked yourself, will I ever meet this person? Do they even exist? It feels like a lifetime. But when you do meet them, you realize it was all worth it. I dream of that love. The love that songs are written about, movies are made of. The type of love that just being their presence makes you feel like you can take on the world and nothing else matters. The type of love that I want to believe in this mixed up world, I want to believe that type of love still exists.
Thank you, Craig. Congratulations on being a published author.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and support you by ordering some books. We encourage folks to share, because if you share, you get the opportunity to win a signed copy, one of the
Yes.
first printed copies that have come out, and really you're inspiring. You've this is decades in the making, and we want to support you in it. Thanks for sharing.
And thanks to
feelings.
everybody watching out there and supporting.
Let me end right here. We appreciate you guys, and we're going to finish off. We'll talk to you next week.